Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the morning show of yours truly, Dex the Algo Capitalist. Hopefully, everyone had a wonderful weekend and you are now ready to get back into the saddle. It's a new trading week. And if you are not already a attack report subscriber, you need to go to postwavetrading.com and get yourself signed up because these reports go out ahead of the market's movements. All right. So if you want to get a heads up, so to speak, on the generative AI bots, well, that's what you need the attack reports for because we are more predictive and we isolate a lot of the noise for you so that you can be prepared to snipe when the markets move. And that's how we do it. All right. So there's a lot going on. I mean, like for real, there's a lot going on. For those that don't know, um, the Iranian president has perished. And this is because of a helicopter crash. So basically, he went the way of Kobe Bryant. Yes, Iranian state media has officially announced the death of Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi, who is the foreign minister, also Foreign Minister Hazi Amir Abdullahian, and all accompanying officials who were on said helicopter. And the Iranian president and along with the Iranian foreign minister, and along with their accompanying officials, did all pass away in the tragic helicopter crash in Iran's East Azerbaijan province, according to an official statement by Iranian state media. Now, after locating the helicopter carrying the Iranian president and accompanying officials on Monday morning, Iran's Red Crescent Society, or IRCS, issued a preliminary statement noting that there was no sign of life found near the wreckage locations. This announcement comes over 16 hours after the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps reported that they had lost contact with the helicopter carrying the officials. Since then, at least 73 rapid response and rescue teams from the provinces of East Azerbaijan, Tehran, Alborz, Ardabil, and Zanjan and West Azerbaijan were involved in the search and rescue operations led by the Iranian RCS. Additionally, countries such as Azerbaijan, Turkey, and Russia participated in the search and rescue efforts in the province. And according to Iranian state media, the president's helicopter crashed against a mountaintop in the Vashkwan region on Sunday while returning from a ceremony to inaugurate a dam on Iran's border with the Azerbaijan Republic. Iranian state TV mentioned that the helicopter was one of three carrying Razi and his accompanying delegation of senior officials, which also included Iranian Foreign Minister Hossein Amir Abdullahian and the Friday prayer imam of Tabriz, among other officials. In response to the incident, Iran's leader, Syed Ali Khamenei, called on the Iranian nation on Sunday to pray for the safe return of President Raisi and his companions. All right, so that is what the big news is that's happening. Now, already, Western mainstream media has been, spinning a lot of this. But basically, these officials were very conservative. All right, so I'm sure a lot more information will be coming out in the next, couple of weeks as they do their investigations to see if it is true that they were flying during inclement weather, and if it's true that they're flying, old technology that is a lot less reliable. We'll see. All right. Because of this matter, we have to always assume that there could be foul play because of who it is and exactly what happened. All right. We have to think about that. We know that there are multiple wars being fought right now on varying fronts. We also know that escalation of said wars is also a big concern right now. World wars have been started over situations similar to this one. All right. If the people feel and believe that this Iranian president was assassinated, then tempers could flare and bombs could fly. Now, we know that things have a high probability of escalating, even without said incident. Even if this is an innocent accident, no foul play involved, it will still be considered a sore spot, all right, and can be used to escalate things further. I know most of you who are listening this morning, you have seen the movie Leave the World Behind. Maybe you've watched it a few times. And you know that Hollywood has relationships with the US government to do propaganda movies or put propaganda, US propaganda, in said movies and TV shows, things of that nature. Now, one of the major developments in the Leave the World Behind was the scene where and this is a spoiler alert if you haven't seen the movie, when the big ship ran ashore. Now, it was interesting that it was not just it wasn't a cargo ship or an aircraft carrier or battleship destroyer. No, no, no. This was a tanker. This was an oil tanker. All right. So remember, any and everything you see and hear in a movie or television show is put there on purpose. It's not an accident. It's not a mistake. They take meticulous care in setting up the stages and putting things in the background. All right. Some things have very heavy and deep meanings and backstories. Some of the things are Easter eggs, and then some of the things are put there for other reasons, sort of signals, if you will. So the fact that oil tanker ran aground, there's a powerful message there. And we know that things are happening right now with the rush to control natural resources. It's only now, you know, 30 years after the fact that it's now a hint, hint, wink, wink joke that the weapons of mass destruction was nothing more than a lie and a political excuse to go and secure control over Middle Eastern oil by the US. That's it. There was no other reason to invade. There's no other reason. It was about oil. Now, They use cover stories. Oh, they took babies out of incubators. Oh, Saddam Hussein gassed his people. Oh, this leaders did that. Oh, he's a tyrant. Oh, he's Adolf Hitler. And then the people will say, yeah, something should be done, but they don't want to make any movement on it. So what do you do? How do you get the American people to agree with you to invade a country that hasn't done anything to you? That's when the false flags come in. I bet you if we take down 2 American landmarks simultaneously and blame it on Afghanistan, Iran, whoever you want, Saddam Hussein, Osama bin Laden, the sea hag from Popeye. If you can blame them, then the people will believe you. But you just have to scare the people. You have to shock the people, the American people, to death. You have to scare them to death. What better way to scare the American people to death than to take down 2 of its American icons, the World Trade Center buildings, and then to attack the Pentagon, and then to crash commercial airplanes with passengers on board? What better way to shock and awe the American people and scare them to death to the point where now they are seething with anger and vengeance? They're saying, yes, we vote unanimously to attack. We must avenge. Yes, bomb Afghanistan, bomb Iran and Iraq, Syria, Damascus, Lebanon, bombs away. Just bomb them off the face of the earth. Now, let's be honest. In a war like that, right? That is exactly what you would expect to do because you were just attacked. You have a right to defend yourself. So you have to ask yourself a question. Why didn't the U.S. just wipe these places off the map if they're guilty of such heinous acts of aggression? I'll tell you why. Because the whole thing was made up. They had no intentions on going over there and wiping those places off the earth. No, they wanted their oil. The U.S. needed and wanted that oil. And they needed a backstory powerful enough to convince the American people to go along with it. And that's what they did. That's what they did. So the death of the Iranian president could spark World War III. It could make it happen. Now, we'll know more in the days and weeks ahead as investigations come out. And you're going to have to make sure that you do the knowledge to this. Now, I'll tell you what some of the red flags are in this story. The first red flag is the American mainstream media response. No one was blaming the U.S. Up to this point, right now, I have seen no foreign media blaming the U.S. as of the time I'm talking to you right now. Okay? But the U.S. felt that it had to get out in front of this. And that's exactly what the U.S. mainstream media did. So in their coverage of this story, it made me go, It went a little something. The script went a little something like this. This is the talking points from the narrative script given to the mainstream media by the United States government. Here you go. Now, we're not going to entertain any conspiracy theories. We don't believe it was that. I mean, the fact is that Iran has been suffering from, tariffs and things of that nature and embargoes, whatever, for a very long time. So, their equipment that they have, the military stuff they have, is really outdated and old. They haven't been allowed to purchase any up to date, things for a long time, so they don't have, the latest fighter jets and aircraft carriers and bombers and weaponry. Everything they have basically came from the Civil War. So, this was something like this was bound to happen. That's a lot of speculation. That's a lot of speculation there. Why would the first thing you say is mention the word conspiracy theories? Don't listen to conspiracy theories. No one even mentioned that there was a conspiracy. No one said anything that some entities conspired to make this happen. Not even the Iranian news agency said that. They didn't blame Israel. They didn't blame the United States. Not at all. No. So why does America feel that it needs to get out in front of the story like this? And then put in these trigger phrases such as, no, we don't think there's any conspiracy theory involved, and we're not going to entertain conspiracy theories here. The fact is, it's old equipment. You don't know what happened. All you know is the helicopter crashed. You don't know why it crashed. How do you know it crashed because it's old, outdated equipment? That doesn't make any sense. Just because something is old doesn't mean it isn't worthy. Just because a boat is old, it doesn't mean the boat is not seaworthy. Just because a plane is old, it doesn't mean that the airplane is not airworthy. Just because the helicopter is old and they're flying copters from, from the Vietnam War, it doesn't mean that that helicopter is not airworthy. No one said anything about it being old. What does that have to do with anything? You don't know the cause of the crash. Even if they were flying in inclement weather, flying in fog, that is not necessarily immediately spell human error. No one said anything about human error. They're not saying what happened. They're not saying what happened. They're just saying the helicopter crashed. We don't know why it crashed. We don't know anything else. No other news or information has come out. So how can you say, well, it's older equipment? How many old cars are on the road today? How many car enthusiasts get old cars and fix them up using those original same parts, not updating them, but using original parts, and then you see them driving around? How many of you out there who drive have seen really old cars on the road? People driving them, making old cars roadworthy. Yeah, have you seen people driving a Model T? I have. I've seen people driving vehicles from the 30s and 40s and 50s and 60s. All right. I've seen people driving vehicles that are older than me, and they use original parts to do it, just like people who restore old buildings and houses. A lot of jurisdictions have in their code that you can only use the original material if you're going to try to restore something. You can't use modern material because now you're taking away from the historicity of it. So when people remake these old machineries, they still work. They still work. Some people still use, and they have Ataris and ColecoVisions gaming systems, and they can plug them up and play them. They still work. Just because something is old, it doesn't mean it doesn't work. It doesn't mean you're going to crash because you're flying an old helicopter. It doesn't mean I'm going to crash because I'm driving a 57 Chevy. These things do not equal one another. So again, it's a red flag when the American media thinks they need to get out in front of this story. Like, hey, it wasn't me. We didn't do anything. We're innocent here. It's old helicopters. Iran has old stuff that don't work. And we're not going to entertain any conspiracy theories. Why? Who said anything about a conspiracy theory? And who said anything about why the plane crashed? No one said why the helicopter crashed. They didn't even say how it crashed. They just said it crashed. End of story. We don't know the why yet because it hasn't been released. So how do you know? How do you know what happened? How can you say so emphatically and matter of factly, A, old machinery, and B, we're not going to entertain conspiracy theories? How do you know it wasn't a conspiracy? What if it wasn't? Let's just say, what if it was a conspiracy? Let's say, but it wasn't a foreign actor. Let's just say the helicopter mechanic was angry that day because he didn't get a raise, and he decided, well, I'm not going to change out this bolt or this particular item in the helicopter. Y'all on your own. We don't know that. Is that possible? Of course it is. Of course it's possible. Could Israel have been involved? Of course. Could America have been involved? Yeah. Could Russia have even been involved? And their friends? Of course. You don't know. Could it have been a disgruntled employee? Yeah. Could it have been an Iranian disgruntled employee? Of course. We don't know. That's the whole point. We don't know what we don't know. But because of the escalated geopolitical tensions right now, everyone is on edge. So the first thought that people are going to jump to is he was assassinated. This is a political assassination. And it hurts the American face because America has such a history of assassinating foreign leaders, or at least attempting to. So, of course, the first finger that's going to be pointed is at the country that has the biggest rap sheet when it comes to things like that, assassinating foreign leaders. So this is one of those situations where your history is coming back to haunt you. Your past is coming back to haunt you because America's foreign policy has been so absolutely horrific over the years. They're the first guilty party. If you're like me and you like crime dramas, like Law and Order or NYPD Blue, stuff like that. Anything that has to do with crime dramas and law dramas. Notice how in in these crime dramas, right, law dramas, whatever. Notice how if someone comes in to the police station and says, "Hey, I was raped," or what's the first thing the police investigators do when they are starting and opening an investigation? Well, one of the first things they do, they're going to round up all of their known rapists that they've arrested that are out on the street now, who've done their time, paid their debt to society. They're going to them first. They're going to take them and put them in a lineup. That's the first place they go, based on the descriptions that that the victim is giving them. Still, they go and they bring them into a lineup, or they go and they interview them. Where were you at this time of day, such and such and such and such? You fit this description. And but as a matter of fact, the way that this went down, this is kind of your MO. So yeah, you're under arrest, or come down to the station, and we're going to take a DNA sample from you. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Now, if the known past offenders are still on papers, meaning they're out on parole and they have to report to a parole officer, they can't say, well, no, you're not touching me, I want to talk to a lawyer, because that's part of their conditions of release. They have to cooperate with the police at all times. They can't do crimes at all times. So if the police come and say, you're under arrest, or come to the station, well, give a DNA sample, they don't have a choice, because it's either you comply and cooperate, or you go back to prison. All right. So that's the first thing that they do. And that's actually, I mean, it may sound a little messed up, but it is kind of logical, right? If, people are coming in, you got a couple of people within a certain time span in your area coming in saying, I was R-worded, right? And that a number of these offenders have just gotten out, and they're out and about. You're going to go and you're going to interview them. especially if some of the evidence is part of these past offenders' MO. So it makes sense. But for America to get out in front of a story like this that just happened, just came out, is kind of like, huh? You're kind of looking a certain way at them. You know what I mean? It just doesn't make sense to even say all that. All you had to do is just report the story. Why did you have to add those things to try to insulate you from it? So that if someone does come out in the next few days and saying, "Oh, we have some evidence here of America's involvement or whatever," you've already gotten out in front of it and said, "See, we told you that's why we don't listen to conspiracy theories." Blah blah blah. You know what I mean? Just when you see stuff like that, you start to say, "I think thou protest too much, Brutus." All right. So just saying, just saying. The other thing, is so much going on right now, guys. It's not even funny. The other day, we talked about, um, you know, you own nothing and be happy. We talked about that there's no prosperity without private property and how they want to take away private property rights from you. And the first thing you think of when you hear private property, you're thinking of a house, but a private property is not limited to housing. Private property is anything you possess or own, okay? Anything in your possession that you own, including your person and those persons under your care. All right, private property. All right, if you're saying I don't have a say over what's mine, then that means I don't own it. I don't possess it. I don't have control over it. Now, not everything that you control is always immediately in your possession. If my car breaks down, God forbid, and it's in the shop, I still own that, even though it's no longer in my physical possession. I still have lawful control over said property, and I have a say in how that property is handled or treated. I have a say in who I can allow to operate said vehicle. No one can just do anything they want to said vehicle without my expressed permission to do so. But under this new regime, you will own nothing and be happy. You will no longer have say over anything that you have in your possession because they're saying you're going to own nothing and be happy. And this is a multi-pronged attack on civil rights and liberties by the corporatocracy, all right, or the fascist state, where the merger of government and corporations exists to the point where the lines have become blurred. You can't tell where the government begins and the corporation ends. Okay. So when you take this away, it is an issue. It's going to change the landscape of our world because they already have been saying your children don't even belong to you. They belong to the state. They'll say your house and your car doesn't belong to you. It belongs to the state. Now, how can they make this so? And that's the multi-pronged attack that's happening now. You see, when a big corporation says, I want to buy your house, and you say, I don't want to sell my house. And let's say when you bought this house, you paid $250,000 for this house. And let's say on the market now, the going rate is 500,000. All right. You have no interest in selling. You've been in this house forever and you're comfortable. Furthermore, if you were to sell, you would not be able to afford to buy a new house. All right. And you have no intentions on taking out another 30-year mortgage and all of that. You may be in retirement or getting close to retirement, or you just may be struggling financially. But the good news is your house is paid for. You don't have a mortgage, so you're okay. You have, equity in the house. You paid 250, it's worth 500, right? So that's 100% increase in value from what you spent on it, right? You put down 250, get back 500. That's nothing wrong with that, right? But you can't afford to live in said market because rents are astronomical. So you're like, I might as well stay in my house that's paid for, right? But then the big company comes. Here comes Acme Property. All right. And they're like, we want to buy your house. You're like, oh, I don't want to sell you. And they say, well, all of your neighbors have sold to us. We want to buy your house. And and they offer you, let's say, 500,000. You say, I don't want to sell. Plus, I can't afford to rent anywhere. And I don't want to leave the area. I've been here forever. My family is here. My friends are here. My life is here. And if I sold, I would have to leave because I can't afford to rent here. So then the Acme Property Inc. here's your response. And they say, we can sympathize and empathize with that. And that's why we're prepared to change that for you. We know the house is worth 500, but we're willing to pay $1 million. Okay, we're going to pay you $1 million if you sell us this house. Now, the first thing that the homeowner, you, are going to say is, first of all, who would pay me $1 million for something that's only worth 500,000? And you would probably be like, this is strange. This doesn't feel right to me. This is weird. But if you're struggling financially and someone's offering you $1 million, you're like, let me think about that. Let me think about it. Now you're perplexed. You're confused. You don't know what to do because they're dangling this briefcase stacked full of money. You paid $250. They want to give you $1 million for it. All right. You're looking at like a 300-400% return on your money. So they're like, hey, you're like, hey, I know I can't afford to rent nowhere, but that's $1 million is $1 million, right? But just understand that you already said you can't afford the rent, so you'll be renting for the rest of your life. How long until the money runs out? And let's not forget, you just made a windfall profit on this. And the taxes that you're going to pay is going to be like 50%. And Biden wants to raise it even more. Remember, tax the rich. You even voted in your district to tax the rich. Now, you didn't think that you would be considered the rich person that's going to get taxed to death. But welcome to the club. You are now one of those people who will be taxed to death. So, yeah, you'll get $1 million, but the government's going to want at least 250 to 300,000 of that. So even if they only took 250, that only leaves you with 750, right? So you got a threefold return on your 250, but still, it's not $1 million though. To quote from a Mad TV segment, it ain't $1 million though. It ain't $1 million though. When they were on that game show, and he said, "Do you want to take the money you won and go home?" He was like, "Nah." He was like, "Why not?" He said, "Because it ain't $1 million though. I want that $1 million." It was hilarious. So yeah, you have to now think, okay, I'm going to leave with 750. How long until that money runs out? Is that enough to last me through retirement? Now, a lot of people, especially people who are struggling, they're taking these deals like that. So a lot of houses are being snatched up by these companies, right? And you're like, well, hey, I just got broke off. I'm happy. I don't care. Not really thinking that you're going to become a renter for the rest of your life. Now, some smart people say, nope, I can take this money. I got the $1 million, right? After the taxes, I got 750, right? I'm gonna go and I'm gonna buy me another house. I'll buy a small house somewhere. I'll leave the area if I have to. That's fine. But I'm gonna buy. If I got 750, let me buy another house that's made, valued at 250 or less, right? And then that way, I own again, and I have no debt on the house. Here's the problem: you won't be able to find said house. Want to know why? Because the corporations have snatched up all the properties and they are not looking to sell at any price. Remember, you will own nothing and be happy. So the mission is to buy up as much residential real estate as possible and make it so that home ownership will be a thing of the past. Not because people don't want to own a house, but because they can't buy it for any price. Because the government slash companies are not ever willing to sell, because that's not part of their mandate. Their mandate is to own all residential real estate so that you have to pay them rent for the rest of your life. Get it? Same thing with driving. They're changing rules and laws to make it so that you won't be able to afford to drive your car anymore. You may have an older model car. You could even have a newer model car. But if it runs on fossil fuels, they're passing laws so that you won't be able to drive it anymore. You're going to have to drive one of these Teslas or Tesla-ish vehicles. All right? You're going to have to drive an electric vehicle. You got to get into the EV now. I can't afford no Tesla. Oh, yeah, the government knows that. They know it. That's why they're going to lease it to you. Yeah, but I have terrible credit, and you have to have really good credit to lease vehicles. No, no, no. This is a new program that we've started. Since you started receiving universal basic income, now you can lease. Anyone qualifies to lease the car. Anyone who is receiving universal basic income automatically qualifies to lease a vehicle from us. Remember, you will own nothing and be happy. You're going to be renting your lifestyle. You're going to be renting everything in your possession, from your television to your smartphone. Yep, they're prepared for that too. What do you mean? Well, you know how people use prepaid phones now. Well, that'll be a thing of the past. You won't need a prepaid phone anymore because everyone will receive a smartphone who wants one. But I have bad credit. They're going to want 1,200 down. Nope. Because you received universal basic income, you now qualify for a free iPhone. Really? The newest iPhone model? You're going to give that to me for free? Yes, because you're going to rent it. For $35 a month, you can rent the newest model iPhone, the highest tier new model iPhone, $35 a month with unlimited text and voice. Are you serious? Unlimited? Yes. Unlimited on our new 5G network, unlimited text and talk, period. And we're giving you, and your gigabytes and stuff aren't limited. All right? So you are good to go. This is too good to be true. I have my own iPhone. No, see, that's where you're wrong. You don't own this iPhone. You're only leasing it. The iPhone belongs to the company. You're leasing the iPhone. Just like you're leasing the car, you're leasing the apartment by paying rent for it. You're leasing your silverware, your eating utensils, your cutlery. You're leasing your refrigerator because it's a smart refrigerator. You're leasing your stove because it's a smart stove. You're leasing the microwave because it's a smart microwave. You're leasing your furniture. Everything in your possession, you are now leasing. That is what it's meant by you will own nothing, no thing, and be happy. But I can't watch my TV. Why can't you watch the TV? Because when I turn it on, I'm getting this like wall garden message. We forgot to tell you. Yeah, you have to sign up for what apps you want. What do you mean, what app? Yeah. Do you want Netflix? Do you want Amazon Prime? Do you want YouTube? Do you want Hulu? Do you want MGM Plus, BET Plus, Stars Plus, HBO Max, Disney Plus, etc., etc.? Because you have to sign up for each one of these apps individually. Now we do have a combo plan where most of these, the most widely sought after apps, are grouped together in a bundle. So give us $100 a month, and you can have the mega platinum diamond bundle. You get 10 apps of your choice. You get to choose what 10 you want, and it's $100 a month. Now, if you want internet, that's separate. Now, if you want the best internet, the fastest internet, you want China type internet, with 3,000 gigabytes, versus the 100 here in America. Well, we're going to give that to you also for just a low price for the next 3 months of $99.99. So give us $99 a month for the internet. All right. That's a special we're running right now. Normally it's $1.50, but for $99 you can have the best tier internet that we have to offer. So you're paying $100 for the TV, another $100 for the internet. You're paying another $100 to rent the electric vehicle, another $100 to rent the house, $10 per household appliance, washer, dryer, microwave, stove, oven, and TV, dishwasher if you have that, because everything now is itemized because your lifestyle is rented. Everything about your life is rented. Yep. Oh, and by the way, they bought back the Obamacare-ish, right? It's not called that anymore. It's a new thing now, where every human being in the world who has the universal basic income, you automatically qualify for the global Acme insurance plan, which is basically a glorified Medicare, Medicaid policy. All right. And you only pay $10 a month. Oh, and by the way, your prescriptions are also, they're free. Now, of course, they're not free. The government is paying for it for you. So there you go. Now, everything I've explained to you and described, you're probably saying, that sounds awesome, basically. I'm actually saving money. And you're right. It almost sounds too good to be true. Once you do all the calculations, you're paying out about maybe $500 a month for your lifestyle, right? Sounds good, right? Let's say you're getting like 2 or 3 grand a month universal basic income, right? You're like, oh, it's not bad, not bad at all. I'm good to go. I have excess money to spend. That's what it's designed for. They give you 3 grand a month. They know your expenses, if you're smart, will be between $500 to $1,000. So that's $2,000 of disposable income that you get to spend. You can go out to eat. You can watch movies. Go to the movies. You can do all of the extracurricular things that you want. Because what's happening is the world is being subsidized by the government. The government is paying for everything. All right. So see, what happens is it's sort of like what the loan industry used to be, the mortgage industry, where you wouldn't get points on the front end, but that loan officer is getting broke off points on the back end. And that's how this new world economic system will work, where on the front end, it's free to you, but on the back end, these corporations are getting broke off by the government. All right. The corporations have merged with the government. They are the government. All right. Because you'll be like, how can companies stay in business and have profits and all this other stuff? That's how they're going to do it. Okay. That's how they're going to do it. It's just going to be different, but that's how they're going to do it. And that'll be your life. Now, some people hearing this are clapping and like, oh, bring it on. When can it start tomorrow? The answer is No, but it will be starting soon. Okay? All right? So, it sounds good. I know. But here's where it's not. It's not going to be good at all. All right? So, you will own nothing and be happy. All right, the reason why you're not going to be happy is because of what we started off with talking about, property rights. If you don't own your property that you possess or your person or persons, plural, single or plural, then that means someone else does. In this example, the someone else is the state. When I say the state, that's the nebulous word for the powers that be, the government, the corporatocracy, all right, the fascist state that you find yourself living in. That's who owns it. And if they don't just own it, they own you, because you have even become the property of the state. You and everything you own, your data, your family members, everything, the dog, the cat, everything, your children, everything. And the state has a right to punish you by taking it away. Because if you give the state the power to feed you, you've also given it the power to starve you. Capiche? That's why this is so dastardly, folks. And all of these things that you have, all the smart things in the house, are spying on you. They record audio and video nonstop. It's like being under constant surveillance. It's like living on a reality TV set. All right. Just like the Jim Carrey movie, or just like these reality TV shows you like to watch, like Big Brother, where there's cameras all thrown through the house. You're being watched and monitored 24/7. When you get into your Tesla and it's driving you to your locations, it's also reporting back to the state everything you do. And because these smart appliances that they're coming out with, not the ones that exist now, but the ones that are going to come out after this, are going to even be recording your biometric data at all times. As soon as your hand touches your steering wheel, it's taking your blood pressure. It's analyzing your sweat from your palms. And if you're deemed under the influence of drugs or narcotics that are not approved by the state, the car won't start. Now, I know what you're thinking. Yeah, but I'm not doing the driving. The smart car is driving. That doesn't matter. You got to be in compliance if you want all these appliances to work. Your phone won't even work if you're out of compliance. Nothing in your house will work or turn on for you if you're out of compliance. See how see the boot coming down on your neck? That's what you're giving up. You're giving up all of your freedom and liberties, not some of your freedom and liberties, all of your freedom and liberties. All right? It is what it is, folks. They have to do this. They have to give you universal basic income, because there will be no jobs. Because the economy as you know it will be changing drastically so. I hope you understood what I have tried to communicate to you this morning, because we are facing dire circumstances right now beyond most people's wildest imagination. And it's not a joke. It's not a game, people. It's not. This is very, very, very serious. And until people wake up and recognize it, it's going to really, really suck once it comes. Now, you will have those that cheer it on and clap for it and say, this is incredible, this is amazing, and be totally oblivious to the true cost of the new Camelot. But I'm here to tell you, once people realize what it is that they have celebrated for and asked for and begged for, they're going to be begging for it to stop. And it's never going to. And then that in and of itself will lead to the great war, to the great pushback against the machine. That is our theme for this week, as a matter of fact. We're going to take a deep dive into this. And we're going to go down this rabbit hole together and see just how deep and far and wide it goes, so that we can have a real understanding, a real dialogue on what's going down. You got to know what it is that you don't know. Because if you don't, how are you gonna be able to overcome it? It doesn't make any sense, right? So yeah, get ready, folks, because it's gonna be shocking. A lot of the information that's gonna be revealed. Okay. So I just wanted you guys to hear me on that and to know that, so that going forward, you're not surprised or shocked by what you're going to hear this week. There's a lot going down. Now, as far as these markets are concerned, we have some interesting things taking place here too. The guy from the Big Short movie has put out that he's taking his biggest positions ever, short positions ever. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Why would you televise that and work against yourself? So I don't believe it. I just don't. Um, Not until I see confirmation. Now, we started today, or should I say, we started Sunday night with crash alerts in the U.S. stock indices, and we have yet to see any downside production. Remember, these rally and crash alerts do tend to lead the markets, 3 to 5 days out. So the jury is still out on that part. We'll wait and see what's in store. But I did have to tell you guys what's what. You know how we do. I tell you what's up, so you know what to prepare for and what's coming. That's what we attempt to do here, to educate. All right, so that you're not in shock and awe. Um, Today's close will also be monitored and will be important. We're living in a time now where every close is important. Now, the selling May and go away thing doesn't seem to be an issue right now because of what's been happening in the geopolitical front, which we spoke about earlier. So we're going to see where we go from here. And like I said, the close will be very important. I'm really anxious to see how things go. It's going to be really important, folks. These next couple of days, I'm telling you, it's going to be real important on what happens. We got to see it. We got to see things for what they are. All right. So this evening, I will update you on a few things uh, and where we're going from here. Also, I need to tell you also the close today in the metals is also going to be of great importance. All right. Because silver moved kind of funny today. Now, it seems like gold moved in concert with it. Kind of funny as well. So we're definitely watching that. All right. Definitely watching that. Um, like I said, just a lot going on, a whole lot going on. And you're going to definitely want to be privy to it. You're definitely going to want to pay attention to any news reports coming out. I'm hearing a lot of different things, and I'm waiting for confirmation for some of these things. I know that there are a lot of tactical things being done too to try to scare people. They want the American people to be shook. They want the American people to be afraid. So they'll say and do certain things to bring about those ends. So you have to really dissect the news and look for cues and signals like we do every day, especially in the markets, so that you're not misled. All right. You know what it is. The system works if you work the system. Bulls make money, bears make money, and pigs get slaughtered. So remember to take what you can and give nothing back. I will see you guys this evening for this evening's watch list with yours truly. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'm out. Peace.